Well, I want to welcome everyone to this morning's Saturday training call. I hope everyone had a great Thanksgiving. I know that we did, and I hope that you had the fun on Black Friday yesterday. And on our call today, as you can see, we're going to be going through a business builder presentation that we've been working on. It's the first time that you're going to see it. I've got Lewis on the phone. And Lewis, why don't you go ahead and say hi?
Hi. Hello, Don. Hello, Gene. How are you?
We're doing great. And Gene's my partner. We've been putting these programs together. Gene, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
Hi, everybody. Thanks so much for coming this morning. I know it's not easy on a holiday weekend, but we're really excited about the results that we got with Lewis, and we're excited to share them with everybody.
Yeah, we are extremely excited with what we did with Lewis last Saturday. We're going to share that in the second half of the program. We may go a little bit long today in the presentation because there's two things that we want to cover, but I think you'll find it extremely valuable. So the first thing that we're going to do is I'm going to do a role play with Lewis, but before we get to that part, I want to make sure that you understand that you should take notes. We are actually recording today's webinar, but again, it's always good to take notes. And one of the things that we've been talking about is this N factor. The N factor is a reflection of your skill level in achieving a positive outcome. And if your skill level is a 1% and you do 100 quality exposures, you're going to get one positive outcome. So the whole process of what we've been trying to teach people is how to improve their N factor. And we're going to talk specifically about this with a program that Lewis did with us. He took us up on doing a live webinar. And we're going to talk about how Lewis has been working on his N factor and how through the whole process and the quality exposures that he brought to the table, he got extremely high positive outcome. We'll explain more of that as we go along, but everything is all designed to help you improve your N factor. And today we're going to expose you to the business builder acquisition funnel. We've been talking about the customer acquisition funnel. Today we're going to be talking about the business builder acquisition funnel, bringing potential business builders to the table through exposure tools, presentation tools, validation tools to get them into your Synergy organization. And we're going to specifically look about a presentation tool that I've been working on, and Lewis and I are going to role play. So Lewis, are you ready?
Oh, yes.
Okay, so let's set the scene. Lewis has been talking to me about the business, and he's decided that he wants to look at what it would take to come into the Synergy business. And so we could do this face-to-face. We could do this over the internet like we're doing now. And so I just want to take Lewis through this. So Lewis, you've indicated to me that you're interested in the business. So let's talk about the business side of Synergy, okay?
Okay.
Now, we've set up what we call the Synergy Co-op. And we've set this up so that it can help you achieve two primary goals. First, we want you to acquire customers, what we call customer acquisitions, because if you learn how to properly acquire customers, they can create cash flow to grow your Synergy business. The other thing that we want to do is we want to also teach you how to attract business builders with a real business plan so that you can create what we call long-term residual income. So we've set some goals for ourselves. Our goal on the customer acquisition side is we want to try and have at least 12 customer orders per month. And as I go through the presentation, this will begin to make more sense to you. And on the business builder side, we've got a goal that we want to bring in at least 2 business builders on a monthly basis. So as I go through this presentation, when we get done, you're really going to have 3 decisions that you're going to have to make. First, do you want to join our team? Secondly, whether you want to get 1 or 3 tracking centers. And third, what your starting auto ship should be. Okay?
Okay.
So let's start with Synergy. It's a one-time registration fee of $24.95. Again, that's one time only. It's not an annual fee, and it's non-refundable. So if you decide to join Synergy worldwide as an independent distributor, it's going to cost you basically $25. Secondly, we're going to need to place an activation order, which is going to establish either 1 or 3 tracking centers depending upon which way you want to come into the business. So if you do 1 tracking center, we recommend that you get a 4-pack of ProArgi-9 Plus because this is the product that we're going to market. This is the product that you're going to be able to create cash flow from your customers, and this is the flagship product of Synergy. It's what everything revolves around. Synergy has other great products that you might want to use for personal use or recommend to people, but this is what we're going to build our business around, ProArgi-9 Plus. So if you get one tracking center by ordering a 4-pack of ProArgi-9 Plus, you're going to have basically a left side and a right side to your organization. Some people would call this a binary structure. So there's no breakaways. It's just a left side to your organization and a right side to your organization. Does that make sense?
Yes, that makes sense.
Okay. Now, if you do 3 tracking centers, we would recommend that you get a 12-pack of ProArgi-9 Plus. And as I go through this presentation, I'll explain to you why. If you do a 12-pack, you're going to get 3 tracking centers, and I'll talk about the benefits of having 3 tracking centers as we go through this presentation. But it doesn't change the binary structure. You're still going to have just a left side and a right side. So when you add your registration fee, your approximate cost, because I don't know what your sales tax is in your area, but your approximate cost for one tracking center with your activation order is going to be somewhere around $235 to $250 to join Synergy. And if you do the 12-pack, you're looking at $485 to $495 as your total initial investment in getting your Synergy business. You'll have a 90-day money-back guarantee on the product portion, but again, your registration fee is a non-refundable investment. Does that all make sense so far?
Yes, so far, yes, it makes sense so far.
Okay, so let's go into if you ordered a 4-pack. Individually, if you ordered a 4-pack, it would cost you around $215. Could be a little bit more depending upon your sales tax. And your cost per canister is $53. Now, if you sold those canisters to a new customer, we usually recommend that you use the wholesale price of ProArgi-9 Plus, which is $69. That's what they would get if they bought it from Synergy as a preferred customer, except you have an advantage where you can give it to them, hand it to them without any sales tax and without any kind of shipping fee. So your net profit, looking at $69 minus your cost of $53, your net profit is $16 per canister, and if you sold all 4, you would make a $64 profit, net profit from your customers. This is not coming from Synergy. This is coming to you from your customers, which you could use to help begin to grow your Synergy business. If you decide to do the 12-pack, this is the cost for a 12-pack, $468. But when you divide that number by 12, your cost per canister is about $39. Now, this could vary because I don't know what your sales tax is, but for me, my cost is $39. So I know this slide's a little bit busy, but we're going to look at just this dark blue line here. If I set a minimum goal of 12 customer orders, and they just bought 1 canister from me, I sell it to them for $69. My cost is $39. So my net profit is $30 per canister. I sell all 12 of them, and so that 12-pack netted me a net profit of $360 that came to me from my customers. So that's $360 that I could use to grow my Synergy business. Now, you'll find from experience that as you grow your Synergy business and you acquire customers, once they get established on the product, when they want to reorder, they're usually going to order 2, 3, or 4 canisters, and what we found, the average order becomes 3 canisters. Now, we do give some bulk pricing discounts, which I'll explain in a completely different time with you. But if you do that, you'll make $48 profit per order. You'll go through 3 12-packs, and you'll net about almost $600 of positive cash flow to help grow your Synergy business. Now, 12 customers or 12 customer orders is what we typically try and have as our minimum goal or build our business up to, but we also encourage people not to stop there. You know, customer acquisition is a real key in growing your Synergy business. Like any business, you want to have customers. Does that portion make sense to you?
Yes, yes it does.
Okay, so let's move on. Now, here's why we recommend 3 tracking centers. That 12-pack, if you choose to go the 12-pack route, represents 300 CV or commissionable volume. And I'll explain these terminologies in just a little bit. But if I only have 1 tracking center and I order my 12-pack on tracking center 1, I cannot directly earn any synergy commissions off of it. The people above me in my upline will, but I can't. However, if I've got 3 tracking centers and I order this 12-pack on either Tracking Center 2 or Tracking Center 3, whichever side represents my weak leg volume, and I'll explain what this means in just a little bit, I'm going to be able to earn a basic commission off of my 12-pack. So by having 3 tracking centers, when I go to order a 12-pack to satisfy customers, I'm going to order it on Tracking Center 2 or Tracking Center 3 so that I can earn a basic commission off of this. So let me explain, before I explain these terminologies, let me explain the other portion of what you're going to need to do in your business. You're going to need to be on the monthly auto ship. For you to receive basic commissions and other commissions from Synergy, they require you to be on what they call the auto ship program. They have 3 levels.
Okay.
60 CV gives you basic commission. 120 CV gives you basic commission and mega matches, and then they have a 3rd level, which I'm not going to spend much time talking about, but they have a level called the 150 CV, which gives you basic commission, mega matches, and this elite rebates. And I'm going to leave the elite rebates off the table for now. I just want you to understand basic commissions and mega matches and how that impacts your business. So here's our recommendation to you. If you come into Synergy, you want to do your monthly auto ship on the products that you need for your own personal use only, or for you and your family. That's what you should do for your auto ship. Any ProArgi-9 Plus that you need, really you should order as either a 4-pack or as a 12-pack, depending upon how you want to structure your business. And we recommend the 120 CV level or the 150 CV level. So let me explain these terminologies, and then I'll ask you if we're okay so far, all right?
Okay.
CV is commissionable volume. This is the volume Synergy uses to determine commissions paid to their distributors. Basic commission, each month Synergy pays you up to 10% on the commissionable volume in the leg that has the least amount of commissionable volume, what we call the weak leg. So that's either going to be your left side or it's going to be your right side. I don't know where it's going to be because as time goes on, things can change. But one side's going to have a smaller amount of volume. That's where they're going to pay you your basic commission. Now, Mega Match, for people that you, Lewis, that you personally sponsor,
Okay.
if they earn a basic commission, Synergy will directly match their basic commission and reward you with what they call a Mega Match. For example, if you brought someone into the business and let's say their basic commission was only $10, Synergy would match that $10 and add it to your commission as a Mega Match. If they had $1,000 basic commission, Synergy is going to match that $1,000 basic commission of a person that you personally sponsored and add that as a Mega Match to your commission. Make sense?
Yes, that makes sense.
Now, there's no limit on the number of Mega Matches that you can earn, only on the total amount that you can match on each person. So I'm not going to go into what that total amount is right now, but those people can be either on your weak leg or your strong leg. You'll always Mega Match off of people that you personally sponsored into Synergy as long as you're on auto ship for 120 CV of volume.
Okay.
Now, I want to introduce one other bonus or commission that Synergy has. It's called the leadership bonus, because once your weak leg or lesser side volume reaches a certain level, then Synergy is going to start paying you commissions on your other leg, what they call your strong leg commission, your strong leg volume. They're going to start paying you commission on the other side. So leadership bonus becomes important because as I can help you build your weak leg and show you how to effectively do that, you can start earning commissions off of your strong leg, which can be extremely significant to you. Okay?
Okay.
Now, let's recap so we understand where we're at so far. If you come in with a 4-pack, it's going to give you 1 tracking center. It's going to give you a potential net profit that if you sell those 4 canisters to customers, it's going to create about $64 in net profit for you.
Okay.
If you do a 12-pack, you'll get 3 tracking centers. Your potential net profit from customer sales would be about $360, almost $300 more than what you would earn off of a 4-pack.
Okay.
Plus, it establishes the potential to earn basic commissions on all future 12-pack orders that you place with Synergy to satisfy customer needs.
Okay.
And I'm going to show you that if you teach this strategy to your team members, you'll increase your potential for basic commissions and mega matches down through your organizations. I'll show you what this looks like in just a little bit. And this strategy will also speed the process of helping you tap into the leadership bonuses so that you can start tapping into the volume on your strong side. So Lewis,
okay,
we're going to do team building for success. So as your upline sponsor, I have a vested interest in helping you build your organization. I've set a minimum goal of bringing 2 business builders in each month. So in this illustration, I'm going to be placing them on your right-hand side. So
okay,
we're going to bring you into our system to help teach you and train you how to effectively apply our business plan. So the second month, you're going to be responsible for your other leg. So I'm going to continue to help bring people to the table, to bring them and place them in your right-hand side, and people that you bring to the table who are interested in the business, we're going to place them on your left-hand side.
okay,
And so over a course of time, let's look at 4 months, you can see that your business begins to build out. And let's say that one of the people that you brought to the table has also decided to plug into the system and start bringing people to the table. You're building their left-hand side, so they're responsible for building their inside, or in this case, their right-hand leg. Make sense so far?
Yes, so far, yes.
Now, let's say that all you did was have people on auto ship. Didn't teach them anything about customer acquisition and the power of getting 12-packs to grow their organization. So if everyone was just on 120 CV of volume, you've got 8 people on your weak leg, so 8 times 120 is 960 in CV volume. You're going to get paid up to a 10% commission. We found from experience that usually averages around 8%, so you would earn $76.80 in basic commission and have a very small amount of net profit from your customers through selling your ProArgi-9 Plus if you got like a 4-pack. Does that make sense so far?
Yes. Yeah, that makes sense.
Now look at the difference when you teach customer acquisition and teach your organization to come in with 12 packs so that they can sell product to customers and acquire customers. This is what it's going to look like. The person's on 120 CV of volume for their auto ship and they sell one 12-pack. If you remember, a 12-pack represents 300 CV of volume. So if you add 300 to 120, that equals 420 CV. So each one of these people, if they were acquiring customers, coming in with a 12-pack, and then work to make sure that each month their monthly goal was to have 12 customer sales or 12 customer orders, they would be going through a 12-pack each month. So that represents 420 in CV volume for each of these 8 people. So now you're looking at 3,360 CV of volume. At an 8% commission, now you're looking at going almost $200 more in basic commission, $268.80. Plus, each one of these people now in green has the potential to earn a mega match, because you'll look, let's say this person wasn't yet engaged in building their left-hand side, but they had their right-hand side, their right-hand side, but they have their left-hand side being built because you're helping put people in their organization, but they at least have customers. So when they go to order their 12-pack, they order it on their weak leg tracking center, which allows them to earn a basic commission, which you mega match off of. Does this make sense so far to you, Lewis?
Yes, it makes sense so far.
So can you see the value of how a 12-pack in acquiring customers can not only profit you by creating net profit from your customers so that you can use that to grow your synergy business, but also creates a huge increase in your organizational volume so that you can increase your basic commissions as well as increase the potential for your mega matches?
Yes, yes, I do.
Okay. Now, what would happen if your organization continued to grow, and what would it look like after a 12-month commitment? You know, I can't share that with you because there's so many variables, but I'll let you take a pen and, you know, take time to put pen and paper to this and look at what it's going to do for you. And,
okay.
And what would happen if every person that you brought into your organization, we plugged them into our training program so that you didn't have to teach them, but you could bring them to our training program where we could teach them how to structure their business properly, how to properly get customers, how to properly attract business builders, how to bring them into their system properly, how to use the tools to increase their N factor and their ability to be able to have a positive outcome with the people that they meet. And what would happen if you set up just minimum goals, 12 customer orders per month? If you just did that and taught that through your organization, each person would go through somewhere between 1 to 4 12-packs each month that they would order on their tracking center 2 or 3, whichever represented their weak leg, and they would earn a basic commission off of that, as well as you would earn your own basic commission, plus you would mega match off of every one of those people that you personally sponsor. And then set for yourself a goal of attracting 2 business builders per month because you have a real business plan for success that you can show people. Does this all make sense?
Yes, it does.
So we come back to what I told you, where it's going to be 3 decisions that you need to make. The first one, do you want to join our team?
Yes. And the answer would be yes.
All right. Then if you want to join our team, how many tracking centers do you want? 1 or 3?
It would be 3. That would be 3.
Makes sense, doesn't it?
Yes, yes. Yes, it does.
And then what level of auto ship would you want to start at? The 120 CV, which is what we recommend for everyone, or the 150 CV?
On the 120 CV.
Okay. Then the next thing that we need to do is we just need to connect with Synergy and get you started in the business.
Okay.
Now, that's the basic business presentation. Lewis and Jean, let's open up the line to people that may have questions. Lewis, anything that you have questions about during that presentation?
Dan, can I interrupt you for 1 second?
Go ahead.
Can you just, real quick, because this was always kind of an intimidating thing for me, when you said you connect with Synergy and sign them up. I think that a lot of people are a little intimidated about calling Synergy, about getting people started and how exactly that works and how you have to fax in their information, and it just a quick 1-minute explanation. If anybody has any questions, then they can ask questions.
Okay, well I'll share with people how I do it. I prefer to call on the telephone and have a person register right over the phone with Synergy Worldwide for this reason. It makes it, I think, easier than any other way. Because if I've gone through this business presentation, I've been doing this by drawing circles on a piece of paper. This will be the presentation that I'll now be using. But when I get a person to answering these 3 questions, I've already established exactly what I need to tell the Synergy person when they get on the phone. So if Lewis and I are talking by telephone, or if we're doing this by the internet, then I would just call Lewis by phone and I would 3-way him into Synergy directly. And then I can tell the Synergy person exactly what I need to do with Synergy. I mean with Lewis, because he's established that he wants to join our team. So I'll be his personal sponsor. I'll just need to know where I'm going to place him. So it's easy to say outside right. Even if I don't know who that person is on my outside right, I can say outside right, and Synergy will look up on my organization and tell me exactly who that person is, and then I can confirm that I want Lewis on that person on their outside right, or wherever I'm placing them. And then Synergy will gather the information from Lewis. They'll ask Lewis his name and get his address and get all his Social Security number and everything. They'll ask him, what is the order? What is his activation order? We've already established that he wants 3 tracking centers, so he's going to come in with a 12-pack. So now it's just a 12-pack of what kind of 12-pack Lewis wants to get. All mixed berry, all citrus, or get what Synergy has, 4, 4, and 4. 4 mixed berry, 4 citrus, and 4 grape. So again, he can choose 12 mix, 12 citrus, 12 grape, or he can get 4, 4, and 4. So it's fairly simple. And then they'll ask him if he wants to set up his auto ship. We'll typically set that up, or if he's not sure what products he wants to be on yet, then he may let that go for now, but then that's a follow-up for me to make sure that he sets up his auto ship on 120 CV of the products that he wants for his personal use. He may not know that yet, so that's usually the only question that some people don't have the ability to answer yet, but at least we've established what level he wants to go in. And so that's usually less than a 5-minute conversation on the telephone. Or if I'm doing a face-to-face meeting, I'll just go and we'll put the person on speakerphone with my phone here, and we'll do it right there between the two of us off of my phone. I found that to be the easiest way to have a person join, because Synergy walks them through every level that they need to so that you don't forget something. And I've already established exactly how Lewis wants to come into the business.
Well, and I want everybody to know too. Yeah, I want everybody to know too that Synergy has their customer service is excellent. I've never had a problem with them. They've always been so helpful and so pleasant and eager to help too. But I'm going to unmute Annie right now because I think she has a couple of questions pertaining to this, Dan.
Okay.
Good morning, Dan, Lewis, and Jean.
Good morning.
Good morning. My question, which I actually typed up, was, doesn't Synergy also want the signed startup application form after your call to Synergy, your initial call to Synergy for a new potential distributors?
Yes, Andy, you're correct. They do want that, but I'll tell you that I've never ever done it. So, I'm a little bit lazy in that area, and I've never had a problem. But yes, Synergy does want that to be put in place. And so all that is once you've established it, you can then fill the form out yourself and send it to your customer to have them sign and then forward on to Synergy. And that makes it the easiest way.
Yeah, Annie, I've faxed them in the past.
What?
Jean's?
I've faxed them in the past. I just faxed them right over there.
Yes, I've done that too. I've faxed the application form to them. But
Jean is much more detailed on that than what I am.
Then you're in trouble, Dan.
I know. I'm always in trouble.
Okay, Annie, I'm going to mute you again because Janice has a question.
Okay.
Hi, Janice.
Hi, good morning. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, I can hear you.
Thank you. The purpose for my question is just for clarity as to why one, other than the financial commitment, why someone would get 3 tracking centers instead of 1. Because I'm just thinking as starting into the business, what would be the benefit for the customer to do the 1 tracking center versus the 3? And can they come in at 1 and then change to 3?
Okay, if you're talking
concern,
if you're talking just as a customer, I would never bring a customer into the business. I'm
talking about a business builder. Builder. I'm sorry, I used the wrong verbiage.
Okay, good. All right, because customer, we would always want to put them as a preferred customer, not as a business builder. So for a business builder, the actual benefit is just in terms of, let's go to this slide here, and then I'll bring it back up on the screen. So if you bring a person in and all they do is get 1 tracking center, and they decide that they want to start buying 12 packs, typically what happens is they buy those 12 packs on their tracking center 1. They'll receive no commission off of a 12 pack. Even if they're at the elite rebate program of 150, Synergy will not pay any elite rebates on 12 packs or 48 packs. So this 300 CV volume ordered on tracking center 1, they will receive no commissions from Synergy off of it. People above them will, but they will not. If they take that same 12 pack that they order and ordered on tracking center 2 or 3 because they have those 2 tracking centers, they would always order it on whatever tracking center represented their weak side or lesser leg volume, and then they would, that 300 would now be part of their weak leg volume, and they would at least earn a basic commission off of that 300 CV volume. So if they come in initially with tracking center 1, I don't remember the exact time frame, but
It's
they
either
only
3 or
have
6 months.
Pardon?
It's either 3 or 6 months, I think.
We'll have to
let's say it's
check
3
that.
months. Yeah, we'll double check
Yeah,
that.
I don't think it's 6 months. I think it might be 3 months or less. They only have a window.
Oh, Sandy Vincent says she knows it's 6 months.
6 months? Okay. So then they would have 6 months in which to be able to order like a 300 CV order in order to activate 2 other tracking centers. But here's a key. They must tell the person when they order it that they want to use that order to upgrade to 3 tracking centers. If they don't tell them that, then Synergy will just place that order on tracking center 1, and it will not automatically give them 3 tracking centers. They've got to be able to tell Synergy specifically that they're placing this order so that they can get 2 more tracking centers. So I usually, and here's my presentation, I try and give people the ability to choose up front. So I try and show them the difference up front so that they can make that decision when they go to come into Synergy. And I found from experience that when you do this up front and show them the benefits up front, more people will come in with tracking centers, with 3 tracking centers, and place a 12-pack order because they see the value of doing it right from the beginning. And then you can teach that continuously down through their organization, as opposed to getting people to come in with just 1 tracking center because you don't think that they want to spend the extra money. You know, I've learned from experience not to make decisions for people. I've learned from experience just to give people information and then properly present it and allow them to make the decisions of how they want to come into the business. And then I work with them based upon how they see themselves coming into the business rather than how I want them to come into the business. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. One other question in regard to that. Are actually in the 120 CV versus the 150 CV, you're suggesting the 120 CV on an auto ship. Can you share why that would be the best?
Well, I found from experience that when you start trying to talk to people about the elite rebate program, it adds a whole level of confusion. And so I'd rather save that for a later conversation, because if they start bringing customers to the table and they start having their customers wanting to get Synergy products and they start putting their customers on the preferred customer program, then I'll come back and share with them how they need to be on the elite rebate program, just increase their auto ship 30 CV of volume so that they can start tapping into the 25% rebate that comes back to them from Synergy through the elite rebate program. But that's another level of conversation that begins to cause confusion for people. And I found, again, from experience, already I've got enough decisions that they have to make in this presentation to add another decision. So I kind of leave the elite rebate off the table for now and help them understand the 120 is the best way for them to initially come in so they can tap into basic commission and mega matches. And we do some things in our Synergy co-op that we don't talk about in these presentations in terms of, like, we have a central ordering system that we've developed, and that again brings another level of confusion into this conversation that I don't want to get into.
Okay, thank you, Dan.
Yeah, I agree.
Yes, it does. Thank you.
I agree with Dan that the more you see that someone's involved in the business, the more you start to talk to them about these more complicated compensation programs.
Yeah, and then you can then begin to educate people individually based upon how they're growing their business, so that you can help them better understand nuances to put more money into their pocket. Anything else on this before we go to what I want to talk about, which I think is extremely exciting, that Lewis had the opportunity, and Lewis will have a lot of input. Any other questions on this before we get to the second half of our presentation? Well, let's go to the second half. Let me get to the slide, Lewis, and you got that little bee in the background. Mm-hmm. Okay, Lewis, you still there?
Oh yeah, I'm still here.
Okay, great. Now, we taught this customer acquisition funnel a couple weeks ago. We showed Lewis and other people some exposure tools. They could be the 90-day challenge brochure from John Hewitt. They could be the 4-page brochure that we've created. Could be some tools such as using the sampling program where you're giving out sticks of ProArgi-9 Plus for people to be able to at least taste the product. And then we talked about presentation tools, and we talked about how to use live webinars to grow your Synergy business. And Lewis took us up on this. So Lewis, why don't you tell us how many people that you got into your seminar that you did in the Cayman Islands?
Yeah, about 47 at the seminar itself, but I actually reached out to, I would say around 70 people or more, because I actually went to two other seminars that was going on there in the Caymans, and also I went to stores, basketball games, any place where there was a function going on. I would just go and just talk to people about the ProArgi-9. So last weekend, also on the flights going down to the Cayman Islands, I actually give out brochures and samples to flight attendants who were they were all on blood pressure medication. So I actually challenged them also. So okay. I touched a number of people last weekend.
All right, so let me make sure I understand this so that everyone else can understand this. You did exposure tools. You set a date with us that you wanted to do a live webinar.
Yes.
And you went to the Cayman Islands, and while you're on the airplane, you used some exposure tools to create some potential customers that you could follow up with. So you used the 4-page brochure, and you used some samples that you took with you, correct?
Yes, that is correct.
And then when you got to the Cayman Islands, you went to several meetings outside of the one that you set up to invite people to come to that meeting, correct?
Yes, exactly. And also to the ones who cannot make it, to make sure that at least they have the brochures and the samples.
So you used exposure tools in that process. And what exposure tools did you use?
Of course, both the brochures from yourself and also the brochures from John Hewlett's team.
Okay, so you used both the 4-page brochure as well as John's brochure, and then you used most likely some of the individual sticks of ProArgi-9 Plus?
Yes, yes.
Okay. And so by going to multiple meetings and meeting people and different events and that, you created buzz, excitement, to come to this presentation that you had planned, correct?
That is correct.
So out of those 70 plus people that you talked to, you got about 47 that actually attended.
Yes.
Okay. Now, excellent. Okay. So you used, we go back to this N factor that we talked about. So you used tools, and you've used your training to increase your N factor so that your success ratio of a positive outcome was increased.
That is correct.
All right. Now, the presentation tool that you used for your event was a live webinar.
That is correct.
You asked Gene and I to put together a live webinar. I asked you some questions ahead of time so that I could kind of structure it. We felt the best area of topic was high blood pressure, and so if you remember correctly, we had a few technical difficulties in terms of getting the presentation up on the screen. But once we got it up on the screen, if you remember, I asked you a specific question to ask your audience, correct?
That is correct.
And I asked them how many people in the audience either had or knew someone who had high blood pressure. What was the response to that question?
All the hands was in the air.
Okay. Now, the reason why I did that is because I knew that we were going to do high blood pressure, so I wanted to make sure that the presentation that we were going to do with them would resonate with them. Now, Lewis didn't have any control over the presentation. He had to trust Gene and I for the presentation. So, Lewis, we did the presentation for you, and before I ask you this, ask you about the Q&A portion at the end, did the material that we shared, did it come across the internet clean, where people could see and hear everything without any problems?
Crystal clear. Crystal clear.
Right. Now, this is important for people to understand. Jean, at that time, was down in Nashville visiting her daughter and her granddaughter. I'm here in West Chicago, and I don't know where the Cayman Islands is specifically.
The Caribbean. In the Caribbean, by an hour out of Miami.
All right. So he's an hour out of Miami on an island. That means it's surrounded by water, and the internet still travels there. And so we didn't have to go to the Cayman Islands to do this presentation. We were able to do this presentation through technology that works.
That is correct.
And was this a powerful presentation for your people?
Very, very powerful. Very, very powerful. Because of that presentation, after that, people were saying, okay, where do we sign up? And so we did a Q&A, and in that Q&A, see, that's the other thing that we were able to do on a live webinar. They could ask. We had some difficulties actually hearing some of the questions, but Lewis could hear the questions, so he acted as the intermediate for me, and so we answered every one of those people, every one of the questions that were answered there. And so by the end of the Q&A, when we signed off, tell us what happened once we signed off on the webinar. Once you and Gene signed off, I mean, the people just all of a sudden they just said, okay, this was fantastic. This is what I wanted to hear. Where do I sign up? I mean, how can I purchase the product now? And so that's where my situation, of not making sure, like, you. Yourself, John, Dane, Bob Wishmeyer, everybody always say, make sure you have product to sell. Make sure you have the brochures to give to people. Make sure you have samples. And, I had samples. I had brochures. But because of my flight from Japan to New York to the Cayman Islands, I could not get the product in time, from Synergy to meet me in New York in order for me to pick it up to take to the Cayman Islands, and that created a problem for me.
So outside of the aspect that you didn't have actual canisters on hand that you could have sold, if you would have had that there, how many canisters do you think you would have gone through that day? Easily
a 24 or 48 pack. Easily that weekend I could have moved. Easily.
Okay. So that most likely would have created the net profit to have paid for your whole trip.
Exactly. And that's where I got really sad. I was happy about everything else. I was able to meet with the Ministry of Health, and I made a presentation to him there, and kind of get him a little bit fired up, because when I found out that 72% of the people in the Cayman Islands dropped dead from cardiovascular disease, I told the Ministry of Health, this doesn't have to happen. We have a product here. Please read about it. Please taste it and get back to me.
Now,
he's very, very interested.
Right, and not all is lost, because you have definitely created a buzz. You have, if I understand correctly from one of the emails that you sent me, you have a person who owns 2 GNC stores?
That is correct.
And they want to become distributors for this product. Even though Synergy is not operating in the Cayman Islands, they have an import license. So if we can get them registered with Synergy worldwide, they can then have the products shipped to a U.S. address where they get all their products anyways,
Right.
and then have those products enter into the Cayman Islands through their shipping license that they already have established, and they can become focal points for you to be able to grow your Synergy presence on the island.
That is correct. That is correct. That's the good part of it. The sad part, like I say, I didn't have the product, and people, but the thing is, what we have to do, even though I didn't have the product, only one lady was able to get the samples. I mean, this lady actually, she just begged, and I said, okay, and I sold her the sample. But the other people are still waiting to get their 90-day trial.
Okay,
Louis,
so
can
you
I ask
still...
you a quick question?
Yes.
What I'm wondering is how did the mood of the presentation change from when you first got people in the room, and did you see any skepticism, and did the third-party validation something you had mentioned to Dan that a lot of people in the audience were shaking their head when Dan was doing the webinar on high blood pressure, and then also with the bodybuilders in the room?
Yeah, because what happened is every single thing that you folks were saying, people experienced that. Every single thing that you were saying, I mean, the bodybuilders, when the bodybuilder was asked you a question and you responded to him, he actually knew exactly what you were saying. The people with the high blood pressure. As a matter of fact, there was one lady with the acid reflux. And she was shaking her head like, yeah, gosh, that's exactly what I'm going through. Mm-hmm. And because of the way, you both presented everything, people were, they had no, they were like ready. They're like, okay, I've heard enough. I'm sold.
So that was third-party validation. Rather than it coming from Lewis and Lewis trying to convince them to get on the product and them looking at Lewis, well, you've got a vested interest here, we became the third-party validators for Lewis. And all we did is the same thing that I do in my business presentation. I show people the information and allow them to make their decisions, because people are already motivated by that point in time. If they showed up to Lewis's presentation, they were already motivated to want to change their health. They just needed to know, can this product be the avenue for helping me? Our job is to validate that, to show them how this product can address their issues by first showing them their issue, showing them how the endothelium affects their issue and the importance of nitric oxide in helping to improve their issue, and then here's what we feel is the best product developed. And then we have the Q&A so that they can ask their questions so that we can properly answer them live. And in that process, they then become convinced that this is the product that they want to use to be able to get improvements in their health. Now, Lewis, do you think this is a good model that you can use for future webinars?
Most definitely, I would recommend to people. As a matter of fact, the people that I left in the Cayman there, I told them, okay, listen to me. This is what you folks can do. If you have a party of 7 or 10 people who would like to, know about the product. I even told the lady with the 2 stores, I said, listen, if you have customers that would like to know more about the product, please let me know. I will contact, you guys, and we have a webinar set up in your store, in your home, and I also explained to them, exactly how, we can use the computer, and I also, explained to them, if they, get like an external speaker, a small one, it costs like from Radio Shack or something like that, like maybe, $7 or $10. I'm not sure the cost right now. You stick it in the front of your computer and that will broadcast out, because everything comes through crystal clear.
Now, Lewis is going to work with us on the technical things to be able to properly, from a technical standpoint, set up your computer, interface it with maybe your television screen or something like that, We'll work on getting those kinds of technical details in place. But what Lewis did is what I call conventional network marketing brought up to the modern day society, meaning modern technology. Lewis did the pre-promotion for his event, got people in the seats. Then he used third-party validation in a live webinar, which he didn't have control over. He had to trust Gene and I to this. And then that actual event he's had success with because he had people that he brought to the table. The actual event spoke to their needs, and then he's got what we call post-promotion follow-up, where if he does a good job with his post-promotion follow-up, he'll be able to maximize results out of this whole process. And thankfully, Lewis set parameters for future webinars. He didn't say we're going to do one-on-one webinars. He said you get a group of people of 7 or more, and then we'll establish some type of live webinar that you can do for these people. So what that means is 7 or more people in a room. So if you've got a 12-pack that you've got on hand, and we do a live webinar, and we engage people in their Q&A, their questions, and we give them answers to their questions, and they nod their head, yes, this is what we need to do. We sign off on the webinar. You now have the ability to get rid of your 12-pack so that you can earn the net profit to create the cash flow. And you don't have to go to the Cayman Islands to do this. You can do this in your own backyard so that you have minimum expense to it, and you can then create cash flow, which you can then use to grow your Synergy business without it coming out of your pocket, establish customers so that you can then order future 12-packs on Tracking Center 2 or 3 so that you can earn a basic commission off of that. And if you teach this down through your organization, you can become a leader to your organization doing live webinars for your organization without having to travel all across the country to do these things. There is a value for getting in front of people on a personal one-on-one basis, but you can utilize your upline help more effectively by having these live webinars where you do the one-on upfront with people and then use your third-party upline to do the validation through a live webinar. Very powerful tool, always been used in network marketing, but what we did is we brought it into the 21st century by using technology so that we don't have to travel, cut down expenses, but still have the same impact or even more of an impact because
Exactly.
it's clear third-party validation.
Exactly. But the thing about it is, I just wanted people to know that also that a lot of the people there actually before they came, they actually went on the web and and check out Synergy Worldwide. So they kind of had a little they had some information.
Sure.
On about the company.
Those are all exposure tools. The website, the brochures, actually giving samples out to people. Those are all exposure tools to help get people into the seats or at least be interested so that when you do your presentation tool, the outcome is going to be customers on ProArgi-9 Plus.
Annie just sent me a comment, you guys. She said, this is exciting. I can gather a meeting at 7 or more and have a webinar with you anytime. So I told her to send me an email, and we'll be happy to get those things moving.
Yeah. I mean, it maximizes our time, and we don't have to travel except through the internet, which is a whole lot less costly than having to get airfare and travel out to California where Annie's located. We can do the same thing.
Annie says, meaning that your professional expertise can do the talking for me. This is better than I can do it for myself. And I think, Annie, what you're saying is that this third-party validation, the little time that I've been in network marketing, the third-party validation has been huge for me. I think for Dan and I working as a team, it's just been huge.
Yes. Yeah, I bring a certain third-party validation to Gene, and Gene brings a different third-party validation for me. So by having Jean actually on the webinar where she talked about her high blood pressure issues, a person could actually hear that's that validation tool, that testimony live in person from Jean to help a person understand that she can relate to where they're coming from, and this is the only thing that has helped her with her high blood pressure issue. So
well,
yes.
Jean explaining about her blood pressure situation, that was also very, very powerful. That was very, very powerful, because people need to know that, although we're giving you a 90-day, money back guarantee challenge, the thing about it is sometimes because your body is being, is so messed up, it takes a little longer. It may, because everybody is actually different. So some people, it will take a little bit longer. It's just like I have a lady right now in North Carolina who, which was younger. She had a very full head of hair, and because she's on all these medication for diabetes and high blood pressure, and everything else, she started going bald. Now, I put her on the product 3 weeks ago, and all of a sudden she's telling me that she's getting a full head of hair.
Cool.
So it's, and of course, I was shocked. So, but, when I talk, of course, when I spoke with Dane, we talk about, and I spoke to Buzz Cruz, it's, they all told me it's all about the blood circulation.
Yes.
Right. Right, and Sandy Vincent also typed in that this is awesome, so duplicatable, and Sandy, I'm so happy that you said that, because that's all I keep thinking is that not only can we do these webinars, but we can teach our downline to do these webinars, and pretty soon everybody's doing them and really getting the word out, and people will get excited and be successful.
And we're doing it more than one person at a time. We're doing it like 7 or more people at a time, and just think how that's going to grow your organization. Any other questions for Lewis, myself, or Jean before we sign off? Because we've gone long today.
I see no hands and nothing's typed in.
Well, Lewis, I want to thank you for being on our call today. I want to thank you for taking us up on this live webinar, because we've always believed that this is a huge tool that will help people grow their Synergy business a lot faster than ways that they've been doing it in the past.
It was my pleasure. Thank you so much for being there. Because of what you folks did, we were able to convince a number of people to take us up on the challenge. Thank you very, very much.
You're welcome. And next week, Jean's going to share her super secret ninja technique. I'm telling you, you don't want to miss next Saturdays. I won't be on the call because I've got a commitment to go do a food drive. So Jean's going to be on her own, and she's going to do a wonderful job, and she's going to teach you her ninja technique. And it's not going to be secret.
I'm going to say something about that really fast, because I
want
want
everybody.
Secret away. I know I won't give the secret away, but I want everybody to be there, because I think especially get your new people on this webinar, because I am a baby in network marketing. I really am, and I really have learned so much in the last year about network marketing and about even networking with the other people in your downline, and I think that it would be really valuable for people, especially people who are just starting out. And it's going to be a much less formal platform. We'll do a lot more talking in between each other and just bouncing ideas off each other. So it's going to be a little bit different, but I think it's going to be really valuable for your team. So try and get as many people as you can on. I think you'll be really happy that you did.
Jean and Dan, can I say one thing to everyone? Everybody does this business differently, okay? But if you think about just getting customers first, let the people try the product first, and then you introduce the business to them. Because once they're convinced that this thing will help them or their family, trust me, they will want to come on board.
Right.
Okay?
And then when they want to come on board, if you can show them a real business plan for success, they're not going to be lost in the business part of it. They'll actually have a structure and a duplicatable plan in which to be able to help grow their business.
Yeah, and,
So-
and don't be afraid to partner with someone. Don't be afraid to partner. Don't be alone. You don't have to be alone. It's like, I have Buzz Cruz, I have Dane, I have Dan, I have Gene. Don't be afraid to to ask question or partner with people.
Dan,
Team building.
Is the business webinar on the 17th going to be the same as today's?
No. No, the business webinar on the 10th and the 17th, we're doing test runs. Starting the second week in January of next year, we're going to do a live Tuesday night webinar on health only, designed to help you third-party validate the need of this product to your customers. We're doing a business presentation on Thursday nights on how to validate this business to people that are interested in the business end of Synergy so that you can bring business builders into your organization. And so we're going to test run those webinars. The health one's going to be test run 2 weeks from today, and then the business webinar is going to be test run 3 weeks from today. And we're doing test runs because we want your impact or your input back on how you like the webinars. Are there things that you want us to add? Are there things that you want us to take out? We want your input so that when we're ready to go in January, these will be webinars designed health to get people on the product, Thursday night business to get people into the business, and then on Saturday we'll do our live training webinars like you've experienced today. Anything else, Jane, before we close off?
No, that's it.
Again, Louis, I want to thank you. Jane, thank you. And we want to thank everyone who has stayed on the call. We feel this was good information. We saw it went long, but I think you valued from it. And you all have a great rest of your Thanksgiving weekend. Thank you. Take care.
Likewise.
Thanks
Bye-bye.
everybody for coming.
Bye-bye.